The new inflation report and the raging debate over President Biden's plan to wipe away college loans for some students. Just two of the big headlines that could hit your wallet. And joining me right now to discuss, former White House economic advisor Steve Moore. Steve, happy Monday to you. Welcome back to the National Desk.
Hey, Jen. Happy Monday to you, too.
So Fed Chair Jerome Powell did paint this grim picture Friday when he addressed the Kansas City Annual Symposium in Wyoming and said that he plans to continue interest hikes for some time, but that these steps will also bring some pain to households and businesses. And we did see the markets tumble at this point as well as a result of that. What's your take at where we are right now with the economy? How much more inflation can Americans take?
Well, great point. And when you said tumbling, that's putting it lightly. 1,000-point decline on Dow on Friday. It was, I'd call it a hissy fit by the investors. They didn't like what Jerome Powell was saying. But look, the Fed's in a tough position right now, Jan, because you can't go forward with 8, 9, 10% inflation. It's just, you've got to root it out of the system. I think I've used the analogy before on your show about inflation being like a cancer cell. You just can't let it get bigger and bigger and metastasize, or it's just going to kill the economy. So, but you know, the chemotherapy that you need to get rid of the inflation can be harmful too. And that's the dilemma that we're now facing. I happen to approve. I like what Jerome Powell said yesterday. It was a very hawkish position, saying we're going to drain this inflation out of the system one way or the other. But it could cause some pain. Look at mortgage rates, by the way. They've continued to climb. They're now at 5.5%, and that's going to affect the housing market. That's one little example of how those rate hikes can really affect, real everyday Americans.
Right, and you mentioned the housing market. Renters right now continuing to take a hit with the average rental prices right now rising for the 17th month in a row. It's up 12%. Year to year, the average rent now almost $2,000 a month. Do you expect to see this trend continue? What's it going to take for this to change?
Well, the housing market is something that you're actually starting to see a decline in housing prices, Jan. So if that happens, then rents should come down a little bit too. But then that causes problems as well, because people who own the homes don't have the assets and the investment in their home that they thought they had. I am worried about the housing market. I almost hesitate to bring up 2008, but we all remember when the housing market crashed, it caused reverberations throughout the economy. So, look, this is an economy right now that is, as I've said before, is in a kind of mild recession. The job market still is good, Jan. There's jobs out there for people who want them, but people are still feeling that inflation. Now, it is true also. I mean, getting all these conflicting signals, right? Because the inflation rate came down on Friday. So that was a good sign that we're starting to finally, we was at 9.5%. Now we're down to, closer to 8%. I like the direction there, but we still got a long way to go. The Fed's target rate for where they want inflation to be is 2%. There's a long way from 8% to 2.
Yeah. That's incredibly, that's a long, long way to go right there, and now we've got this raging debate on the student loan debt. Even Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has said a large cancellation of student loan debt will have an enormous impact on the economy during a time when we have this record inflation. And according to several reports, the Penn Wharton budget model shows more than 70% of the debt forgiveness would be given to households who are in the top 60% of income distribution. The Hill had a report on this that stated, quote, the president's proposal will force middle and low income Americans who have paid off their student loans or never attended college in the first place pick up the tab for higher income Americans who decided to take on substantial student loan debt and have not yet fully paid off their loans. What's your thoughts on this, Steve?
I think that the Biden administration believed that this would be politically popular, that they could use this issue to buy the votes of young voters, who have those college loans. But I've got to tell you, it has completely backfired, in my opinion, politically. People are so angry about this. I have a syndicated radio show that I do on Saturdays, and we talked about this for 2 hours, and people were just overwhelmingly against it. And the reason they're against it, Jan, is people just think it's unfair. It's unfair to the people who did do the right thing, people like my wife who who saved and then paid off their loan like you should do. And this kind of rewards bad behavior. So, boy, we'll see what happens with this. But you even showed a clip of a Democrat from Ohio who's running in a tough race for that Senate race, and he's saying he's against it. So even the Democrats are not unified on this. And now that it looks like there may be a lawsuit challenge to this, whether the president even has the authority to forgive this debt.
Right, and so if it goes to a vote in Congress, the question would be, would it even pass with some Democrats now saying they don't support it? All right, former White House economic advisor Steve Moore, great to see you on this Monday. Hope you have a great week.